Hi everyone, welcome back to the Power BI Masterclass Intensive Full Scope Training. We are going to continue the data preparations and we are going to get data from relational data sources. Right? Remember to watch the previous one. Data from relational databases basically is your SQL database. Power BI can connect directly to relational database instead of using exported flat files like the previous video where I teach you guys how to use Excel and cloud. Right, cloud for OneDrive or Excel Cloud OneDrive to load data into Power BI. This video we're going to learn how to load data from SQL database, right? Relational databases. And relational databases help monitor business progress, identify trends and forecasts. Right? Basically, we use Power BI to do so, right? Power BI to connect to the SQL database, and it's compatible with both cloud or on-premise databases, whether your SQL servers in on-premise or whether it's in cloud. We can always use Power BI to connect them. Okay, connecting to a relational database. Use the get data, again get data, or you can click on SQL server over here. Basically it's under home here, right? Get data or SQL server. Click on this SQL server and you prompt this, right? You prompt this, where is my SQL server, right? Which database in the server, and are we going to import or direct query? Okay, direct query is where we can put some SQL query. Import is where you just connect everything. Okay, so authentication options. Okay, we have a few authentication options, whether you import your SQL server from Windows or database or Microsoft account, where Microsoft account is Azure, or database SQL authentications, or just Windows, right? Windows is where you have your SQL server, right, locally, right? Depends on, right? This one depends on where's your SQL servers. Right? After you import it, you then can select data to import. Basically, it's just like the flat files, right? In SQL, it's also the same, where you pop out this navigator after you, right, import the file. It will ask you, right, which data in this database, right? Which tables, right? Relational database all about tables, right? Which tables in this SQL server database you want to load. So obviously you can load or transform data. Again, load is basically straight away load the table into Power BI, or you want to clean or do some Power BI cleaning, you go to transform data. So if you want to import data using SQL queries, right, then you can, right, write down queries. Right? Why do we want to do that? Because we do want to load all the data into Power BI. Right? Let's say your tables in the SQL server, right, have 100 columns. Right? That table have 100 columns and it's too much. Right? We don't want to load too much. Everything is about efficiency here in Power BI. So you can actually write some queries to select a few columns from that table. Let's say from this sales table, I want to select ID, name, and sales amount. Right? Based on this query, Power BI will only load these 3 columns. Right? If you have a more complex queries, you can do that as well. Right? For relational database, we can use queries to limit our import of data. So example of SQL queries. Okay, you can actually queries use where functions, where the order date is more than, right, 1st of January 2020, right? There's a lot of options. You can either use like this to select the 3 tables, or you can, right, again these 3 tables, but you just want the data, right, from, right, 2020 and above, you see. So it depends on the complexity of your data and what kind of data you want to import. Well, you want to avoid using wildcards, right? This is a wildcard where this is this sign right here. If you select these wildcards, meaning you want to import everything. So we do want that, right? We do want to import everything, right? It will drop the performance of Power BI, so you want to avoid that. So changing data source settings. Again, how do we change the data source if we were to let's say the SQL server, you change the tables location in your SQL server. So how do you want to change? Right, in Power BI, basically you go to transform data, change source settings, then you're gonna change source, right, at the change data source setting over here, right? You want to change source or edit permission or clear permission, everything you can do it in the data source settings. So the best practice, again, let's reiterate, we do want to select everything, right? This symbol right here is everything. And we want to use where clauses to filter unnecessary data. Like we want to have where all the date is more than, right, 1st of January 2020, or where, right, the category, right, customer, right, or the gender of the customer is male, right, for example, or things like that. We want to select the data that we want to have in Power BI only, right? If we don't want to load everything, right, it will slow down the performance of Power BI. But consider using database views for optimized queries. Okay, so in summary, Power BI efficiently can able to connect to SQL databases. Various authenticator methods ensure securities, right? Depends on where's your SQL database. SQL queries and data transformation to optimize reporting. We don't want to load everything, right? We want to load the data that we wanted only. Regularly update data source settings for smooth operations. Okay, thank you for listening in. Hope you guys learned something new on how to load data from relational database, which is your SQL server. All right, see you in the next one. Peace.